Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. We're trying to finish the demo. We are about... It depends how fancy we want to be with the demo, but we made some good progress today. Me and Salto worked on our projects for a majority of the day today, and we got a bunch of progress done. So today we're going to be trying to switch over to that branch and see what we've got working with, because that's for the new demo on the website. So we will need to fetch our other remote branch and try to pull into it from there. So let's see if we can do that. We should pull a demo branch down. Origin demo, yeah. So if we switch over to demo, we can pull all of our changes. Okay, so here is the current web deployment for the current web deployment that's on my main website, which means there's no saving and loading because it's just for the one on the website. And we started adding in new artwork. So we've got 6 panels of dark forest now, and we've got these kind of ruins over here. It's kind of like 3D ruins. I don't know how readable. I mean, I think it's pretty readable. It's just that the hitbox for the collision here is like a little janky. But yeah, this is supposed to be just like a ruin, something to kind of discover, and then we need to put, you know what, we need to put our geckos. We need to put geckos here on Gecko Road. So down here, I don't know if I like this one corner. Maybe what I'll do is extend this wall back. Well, we'll take out the stump. The stump is just in the way. See, I don't like this corner. Maybe we can do a rope. Well, we'll see. But, so look at what we've got up here. Main Street, right? We got our new houses. We need to add the warp zones for the houses. And we've got some stuff up here where there's another house. We need a warp zone for it. We've got like a little garden thing over here. Maybe we'll make this one wider so it's a little more readable for the garden on the other side. But then we have the refinery, the dark forest, and then we have one screen below the dark forest here over from the dungeon, yeah. So from the dungeon, if you go down, we've got this, you know, it's not much. It's just like some unique stuff. So here's where we're going to dump a bunch of geckos here. And then I don't know if we're going to have a Fisherman's Hut character. I'm not sure. But yeah, there's like a little dock here. Okay, so we need to add, right now, a warp zone into the inn is right here. But we probably need a warp zone to an empty place. I mean, dude, we need to get the demo done, so do we add maybe one extra NPC or a generic NPC? Hey, Duke of God, thank you for the sub. Hey, thank you. Welcome in. Yeah, I think we want to at least have the room take us somewhere, whether it be an empty cabin or we can make some generic NPCs and just spawn a generic NPC with a dialogue box that says something about, did you hear about the magic eruption or whatever that corrupted the waters, essentially. So they're going to talk to you about a little bit about the lore, about why everything's so corrupted What's up, Duke of God? There's I know we've got, since you're a Prime sub, we got the Jimmy Chump, we got the Jimmy Walk, we got the Fire and the Falling in the Chasm, and we've got a handful. Yeah. Okay, so I think the move is we need to add geckos to Gecko Road here. We need to add a warp zone for the 2 buildings up on Main Street, and they need to go to their own respective cabin. That way we can give a new NPC for each one. That way there's someone to talk to inside the house when they walk in, so it's not just empty. So we'll add the warp zone to both of these. We might change the color roof or just keep the green all around. I don't really think I have a preference. And then we're going to have to decide whether or not I merge this branch into the main branch, because this is the demo deployment branch, which means we don't have any saving or loading. And I took out any go-to statements that was in the code base, because the Love.js compiler into web assembly doesn't like any go-to statements, so I had to take that out, which broke some of the saving and loading logic. But if we're not saving and loading, it's fine. We just have to remember to toggle it back in. So I'm worried we're going to lose some of that logic once we merge branches, but we can just make sure that we do a nice, a nice merge where we look at the changes we do, so we don't completely break anything. But if we get 2 warp zones here to an empty cabin, that's placeholder for new NPCs. And then we've got, you know what, I think this is okay, because I just don't like this corner. I don't like this corner. So maybe we build out, and well, I don't like that corner either that much. Maybe I bring it up 1 and then put a stop here. Let's modify this just a tiny bit, and we'll see. Kivictus, what up, dude? How have you been? Yo, it's been good, dude. I moved into the new house, so now that I'm kind of settled in, I'm ready to get back and finish the demo. Yeah. Oh, my light is giving me some extreme shadows on my eyes here. Okay, we need to open up our new master tiled sheet, which I don't see where it is. We need the master tiled. Where is it? This is annoying, man. Where the heck is it? Master tiled? Nice, dude. Yeah, dude, that's a great movie. Thanks for the lurk, dude. Yeah, working on... Where the heck is the master sheet? Here. Okay, so here's our master sheet. Okay, so we need this is an A sprite, but we need tiled. So we need the master one here. Okay, cool. So this is it. So let's do this extended wall up here, and how do I use this freaking stamp tool? Yeah, I want the corner to be up here. Thanks, Duke of God. Yeah, this isn't even for the game. This is just for the stream. This is programmed music right here in Sonic Pi. So that's on my GitHub if you want to mess around with that. But yeah, it's not for the game quite, but it is the stream. I don't like this freaking notch. This notch is ugly. Yeah, this notch is really ugly. I hate this notch. Okay, so this is an issue because when you walk from screen to screen, you can walk through a collidable map object if you're walking into it on a screen transition. So that's why we needed kind of a notch here, because if you walk, you know, this was the notch that was like a wall. Maybe we just put two freaking... I hate putting signposts over everything we don't want people to walk over. It's just annoying. They can't walk through this wall. They can't walk through this. So this is the thing I just don't like about this is it's only one square in the bottom left corner, and it just looks so weird. But we can't take it out because you can't walk here. So we have to put something here. Maybe we just move the stump here instead of over there and just call it that, because we just need a place for that to live. Yeah, and then we can make this almost like an edge piece or something over there. Yeah. It looks a little weird here, but when you transition screens, it probably won't look that weird. Let's see. So we just export this as a global map, and then we go and play our game, and it's loaded already. Tiled is the application for the map, and A-Sprite is the application for drawing the sprites and stuff. Where did we even touch it? Okay, so here's that stump we added. It's a little, you know, it's not so... there's a couple things going on here where it's like, since basically geckos are going to go on this road, and when you cleanse a gecko, they run away. But gecko entities don't have collision detection with overworld map objects like walls. So right now, geckos would just go through the walls. So I'm trying to avoid having walls on this page, but this is where the whole side of the mage castle is. So we kind of have to have walls here, just like a little bit. It's a little strange, but it's whatever. Okay, cool. So now maybe we add a... I think I like... Because this, we're going to add geckos there, so let's add our geckos. So what scene do we need our geckos? We're at a 7-3, and now we're at a 8-3. So at 8-3, we need to add our 3 geckos. Yes, geckos have to be in the demo. I'm going to add them right now. They're on this road. This is actually called, Gecko Road is the one above us. So we'll just change when we name these things. That Gecko Road is down here, and then in is one lower, I think, because this is just off by 1 for some reason. We scooted some things down. So this is in map 9.3, and 9.3 here says in, but now it says test of strength. That should be down here at the dock. We should have the dock, or the port, boat port, and then it'll be Gecko Road, and then the inn, or the fisherman's hut, and the inn is on Main Street. So right here, this is new Main Street. We'll export a new minimap shrunk version too, so it's more updated, because you see our snow shortcut is actually in the wrong spot, and then we can get a more demo ready minimap, more demo accurate minimap. And I think we're just gonna have, we're gonna have 2 NPCs. I don't know if we're gonna do the gossip NPC in the refinery. I think he'll be in the final game, but not right now. I mean, we're never gonna get the demo done unless we just start shipping something. So we're gonna add some geckos into here too, which have trees. So I think the plan is, when we cleanse a gecko, in their AI for them to run away and scatter, what we're gonna do is just kind of think of Breath of the Wild when you come up against like a hardy lizard or something, where they scurry away fast and then they fade to transparent, and then they get, removed from the game as they run away. So if there are walls, they just kind of run through and fade as if they kind of ran through the tree into the jungle, into the forest, or whatever. So I think this is good. I think what we're going to do is now try to get just the warp zone set up, because that's a big bang for our buck there, and then we can add geckos. So let's add the warp zone to the inn right here on 6-2. So 6-2, there's two buildings here on 6-2, and then there's one over here on 6-1. So 6-1 has one warp zone in need, and then 6-2 has two. So let's build out some placeholder locations for our new locations to exist, and they exist in what I call the other world, which is the 10x10 that is not the main master sheet, or the new, it's not the master sheet, it's the tiled, master tiled, which is all this. So this is a 10x10. This is the overworld, and then the underworld is the dungeons and all the insides. So here's that dungeon from level 1 here, and then here's the refinery, here's the inn, and here's the dark temple. So we have room. We can probably put 3 buildings right here, and this will be respectively the villager 1, 2, and 3 on Main Street. I don't know what to call it other than that right now, but if we give ourselves these places with a similar door structure, then we can add a warp zone object and then warp us over to these new otherworld scenes, where we'll bake us inside the wooden floor. We'll maybe put a shelf or something, and then we'll add the NPCs. So I think the move is we're gonna copy over the inn, and we're gonna put them right here. So like here's gonna be Main Street houses. We're gonna 1, 2, 3, but we're gonna save that for once we remove the beds and stuff, because we don't exactly want beds in the, actually. Let's maybe keep one bed in every house or something, and they're in different locations, because we already got spots for them. So we can just keep one, just because it's the only thing we really have made that goes inside the house, right? We have a shelf, we have bookshelves that go in the back wall, but we don't have any chairs or tables or anything other than a bed. So we might just want to keep one bed in every house. So on Main Street here, we'll put the bed in the back, and we'll just kind of just make sure when we insert a bed, we don't we have the right location. So here's room 1. I'll keep the door in the same location just for the house's sake, just for the easier programming on the warp zone function. But what we'll do is, if that's Main Street 1, I kind of want to have, I just want to have every building should be like a little bit different, just to prove that they're not cut and pasted, even though I'm cutting and pasting them really. But we're going to put a new, one building's maybe going to be empty. That's going to be the one by the pool up on 6-1. And then we're going to put 2 NPCs in the first 2 buildings. And I just don't know what that means for stuff. Yo, Salto, what up, dude? We're working on those 3 insides of the guts and stuff. So we're gonna just, you know what? I think if this is the second house, let's do a bed in the bottom left this time, and then top right bed on the rightmost house, and then we'll just get rid of the other beds. Now we could make a little chair and put a little chair in every house or something. That wouldn't be too hard. Like a little stool. That could be a good idea. And then there's just nothing in the houses, but that's not crazy. Let's just get the warp zones working on these houses. We can decorate later. We can decorate when payday hits, Export as a global map. Now we exported all as we copy and pasted the layers, so everything should work there as long as we get the functions right for the warp zones. So let's try to do those. I already forgot. Was it 6-1? We're gonna have to like take a freaking... What is happening? Dude, why is it called magic poop? Where did magic poop come from? I haven't saved anything that says magic poop, have I? Magic poop. What the heck, man? Okay. Let's go add a warp zone. So how do warp zones work? Well, I have no idea where magic poop came from. And that's how the legend stays alive. Okay, so in our dependencies, cheat warp. We have to define a warp zone and then give it a place to. I don't even see where we're. I thought it's in our map declarations where we put our warp zones. So we should have a warp zones table. Warp zone, yeah. See, look at this. Right here, dark forest to ice mountain dungeon entrance. Now, what gets nasty is the freaking the parameters here, because it's like I wrote them here. It's a warp from row, warp from call. It's just hard to keep track. Plus an offset for the warp zone so that you could walk a little bit into the house and then it would warp you. So we have the it's so much freaking code, man. Here, let's block this guy. Okay, the thing that just kills me is this. Because insert warp zone is 5-4, 2-13, 7-6, 8-8. Right, so... Was that you, Kavictus, giving Salto the shout out? Thank you, dude. Okay, so I'm gonna do warp from row, warp from call. So let's see what's on 5-4 and just see 5-4. So 5-4, there's two things we need is where the warp is and then the location X and Y of 5-4. So 5-4 is gonna be left or up. Oh, that's the dungeon. Yeah, dungeon to the ice shortcut. So that's 5-4. So the first parameters are the room the dungeon is at, which in this case, this one was 5-4. So the first Main Street dungeon or house, cottage I call them, is over here. And it's right here. So this is on 6-2. So that's the first argument. So we know 6-2 is our first argument. So we can say that this is our let's do the Main Street house 3. House 3. Okay, and we know I already forgot the screen. We have a mini map where we can kind of do this a little bit, and we can kind of just like look at, because we know it's right here. It's at 6-2. Yeah, it should be at 6-2 here. So 6-2 is our first parameter. Now this will insert a warp zone, which warps us somewhere, but it also inserts a warp zone. These parameters are the warp 2 row and warp 2 column. So that's where we want to end up, which in this case is 213, I believe, because is that a top one? No, it's not 213. Why would it be 2? Warp 2 row, 2 call. See, dude, what the oh, this is, okay, so this is the other world. Okay, so it's overworld, 6-2, and then 213, which is the other world. So in this case, 213 was the Ice Mountain shortcut, which lives actually over here, 213. So, oh, no, it isn't. 213 would be this one. Okay, so that's the medium way to the shortcut. Yeah, this is, okay, so that's 213. So what we want is 114 for house, or no, 114, 15, 16, 116. 116 is our third house. So house 3 is 116. And then warp from X. This is where we place it to trigger us. So we need to count where we're warping from and where we're warping to on a X and Y. So it's like tiles based for where we put the green warp zone. So if we're looking at Main Street over here, we should just warp over to Main Street. Right here. So, oh, see, look, there's the green circle. So that's the warp zone. So if we touch that, we actually warped to the room 3, which is what we want. But this warp zone needs to be under the map. It needs to be on the X. It needs to be left 2. So 2 less on the X for the warp 2X parameter. So warp 2X is the second to last one. So it needs to be a 6 and not an 8. And this one needed to be over 1 on the X, over at an 8, which will be under the doorway, so to trigger walking in there. So we should be able to walk in this house 3 now. Hopefully. Okay, so look, it's right there. There's the warp zone. Oh, we can move it up 1. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Okay, so let's do up 1 on the Y, and we'll go over to 6-2 upon spawn, just so we don't have to walk over there every time. Let's just say 6-2 is going to be spawn instead of 7-4, so we don't have to walk over there every time, because we're testing all those houses right now. So 6-2, and once we get the NPCs, we are really close to being done with the demo. Like, no joke. That's about it. It's gonna be awesome, man. We didn't warp. What the heck? We went to 6-2. We didn't warp. We must be overriding it for the load. We're overriding it for the load on the web deployment, because this is still the web deployment branch. And since there's no saving and loading, see, we need to move it up. We moved it up on the wrong axis. So this needs to go back. Back, where the hell is the one we just did? It's a warp zone. Yo, thanks, Salto. It looks really different in just one day. But we've been needing to do this for so long. Like, we've been on the verge of finishing the demo for like 3 months now. We have to just freaking push it over the edge. So I'm looking for the code we just wrote with the warp zones. So it's in our map declarations file, and it's in here somewhere. And it's this one, Main Street House 3. So if we remembered that, we could have grepped it, but instead of the warp from X being 7, that needs to be back to an 8. This needs to be a 5, so it hides under the top level tile layer for the above side of the door. And I think the other one is placed. So we should be able to warp to and from this house 3 so that we can actually get in there. We're still loading. We have to test like one more thing. We have to make sure we're reloading the player's X and Y value once we load, quote unquote, load from a web deployment, which is no saving and loading. So we have to just make sure we overwrite that. There we go, house 3. You can't, we need to add a collidable. We need to add these on the collidable ground level so that we can't walk through the bed like this. But this will be house 1, and then we'll add house 2 right over here. So if that's this is house 3. Let's first get our collidables working better on that. So there is a collidable bed. Let's see. Oh, the bed, the inn looks like it is collidable on the above ground level layer. No, it is not. It is not. You know what it is? There's like a floor we give the bed. Shoot, where do we do this? We we add like a little floor of a bed that you can't walk through the bottom. It's a little collidable object. It's like a bed collidable downward bed rest. No, what is it? There's beds that we put in. Where are the beds? Because we need to add I don't think we need to add a dialog box there, but we need to add it to the player or the NPC. I don't see where we're doing the freaking bed. Right bed. Where is the bed we add for the freaking fisherman's hut? Because we add 4 beds, or no, to the regular inn. To the regular inn. Oh, you know what? The house I'm doing now is supposed to be the regular inn. So let's switch that, and we'll make the fisherman's hut go to this house room 3. So we'll change this house room 3 to be fisherman's hut. Yeah, this will be fisherman's hut actually. Actually, hold on, let me think, because this is... Okay, so if the hut, we have to get the new location of the hut so that we can have it warp zone over not to room 3. Well, room 3 is actually the 116 and the 68. But we need a warp from Y for the fisherman's hut. So let's just do that real quick. And we'll get that info right now. So fisherman's hut's over here, down south of Gecko Road. And this is the inn right now. So going from fisherman's hut is actually the inn. So where is the inn? Oh gosh, where do we even add it? It should be a warp zone. I don't see where the inn is though. It's there because we're going there. Dungeon to Ice Mountain. There's got to be another warp zone. Dungeon 1 exit. There's got to be another warp zone. There's Mage's Castle, Dungeon, Inn. There we go. Inn is just this. Okay. So we're going to go up to our other one. We've got these all screwed up now that we changed everything, but we'll take it one step at a time and we'll get it. Okay, so Fisherman's Hut. Okay, so I have a Fisherman's Hut. This is actually going to be the Fisherman's Hut. This one's going to be the one that's already warping to room 3. Actually. Let's start with... I'm trying to think because like some of these are right in the sense of the inn right now is going from the right overworld location, which is 9-3. The inn, actually no it isn't. This has to be matching with the fisherman, which is 6-2. So the inn is going to be coming from 6-2 and it's going to... Now the old inn was actually right at 211. Yeah, but it comes from 6-2 now. Okay, so let's see the inn at 6-2. Because this, we should see a green square at 6-2 unless we magically placed it right under the top level tile, which I don't think we did. We don't see the square, and it's not quite in here. So we're missing, was that 6-2? It should have been 6-2. Warp 2, row, warp from X. I don't even know what these things are. Warp 2 call, warp from X. Warp from Y. What the fuck is this? So the other world, yeah, the other world is 211, and then warp from X is 3 and 4. Let's say 3 and 7. We're looking to scoot down the green box, which is our warp zone collider. So we're coming down here. We should see a box here on 6-2. Oh, this is 9-3. What the fuck, dude? Alright, 9-3. 9-3. And we need a count. This is the Fisherman's Hut. So this needs to go to room 3. So once we get the warp 2 settled, we just add the proper params. Oh, there it is. See the green dot? The green at the bottom there? That's the warp zone. It's just chilling in the wrong spot. So we'll put, It's at 6.2, and we need to put warp from not 3.7, but it was like, oh god, it was too low. Why was it so low? It shouldn't have been low. It would be like layer 8. But we warp 2 row. That is it, I think. X warp 2 row. Yeah, 4 down. It's like 3 down and 3 over. Yo, it's a gecko. Yeah, it's a little bit dirty though, so he's like kind of. Yeah, he's a gecko. Okay, so there's the warp zone. So wrong, man. Okay, completely wrong. But so the warp to X, right? So there's a warp to row, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4. We need it 4 rope to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 8. So 4, 8 should be the in. So 4, 8. That should warp to the in, which is at the old 116, maybe. Let's see. I don't remember. All the numbers get mixed up in my head. It's just insane. So we're going to go past Gecko Road here. Okay, Fisherman's Hut we took out. We're going to Main Street. Okay, it's not in there. It's not in there. Overworld should be 6.2. We changed it to 4.8. When did we do that? 6.2, 4.8. 4.8 should be the 6.2. 4.8 should be the warp to row. 6248. Warp from row. No. It should be the from X. Gosh, what did I say it was? 48. We're going to 116. I think it's 213 for some reason. Or the in. So we should see the warp zone. It's very it's very weird to use, but there's 8 params we need, right? We just need the location. So there's the green. So we messed up. It should be 4 on the row and 8 over. So when we say warp from X, I think this is switched. It should be 8 on the X, 8 over, and 4 down. And then 6, 8, I believe, is the entrance when we warp. This should work. Shit, I thought it'd be right here. Do we have 6.2 on the same? Yep, 6.2, 213, warp from. Oh, this is a crap. You know what? Let's just do 1-1 on this and just see what the heck 1-1 takes us. I need to add a shortcut to teleport us. So we have to walk. Okay. It's not there, dude. What the fuck? Where is it? 1-1 is not showing up on the warp zone. And that was at a 6.2. Let's try it again. This is the warp zone that was working, just to the wrong hut, right? Because we need to go to the room 3 now with this one. So let's get this one. This was at least placed right for the warp zone. We just need to choose where it warps, which is the in, not room 3. So room 3 would be this 116, room 16, and then blah 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 6, 8 is the room 3. Okay, so that's not going to help me, is it? tough because this is like... Okay, this is warping us to 116, which is room 3. We need it to warp us to the inn, which is 113 is right here. The inn is 211. So 211 is where it needs to go. So 211, not 116. So let's say 211. Oh, warp zone in the water. You know what, frogs? Frogs might be a good idea to add. Okay, we warp to the inn. We can talk to the guy. We can ask to rest, and we need 5 coin. And we can ask to rest wherever we're at. So like wherever we add the dialogue boxes for these beds, we also add the collidable map objects, which we need for room 3. And room 3, actually, yeah, room 3 is now this is the inn. So let's call this the inn. Let's get, I guess while we're up here, we're gonna do another warp zone, and it's gonna go to room... Shit, if the inn is there, we have 3 rooms. Okay, so if we're using the inn, then we have just room, or house 1 and house 2. So let's just add house 1 and house 2, and this is the one that's warping to a 211. It used to warp to a 116, so let's do this is gonna be next to the inn. So 116, oh god, 116 is the leftmost room that we just added. So that'll be, I call it the Pokemart because it's gonna have a blue roof. There's nothing in there though. Okay, 116. Now we just need to place the warp zone so that it's not coming from 8.5, but where the new room is, which also has a 6.8. So if we go X is over, so it's like 2 over and 4 down instead of the other stuff. And it should warp to 6. Oh no, that's not right. That's not right. It's not 6.2 here. This one is 6. Oh yeah, it is 6.2. It is 6.2. That should be it. So let's see. We should warp for that Pokemart. You know, it's the right one is where you heal. It's got a red roof. It's the Pokemart or the Poke Center, and then the Pokemart's got a blue roof. So we'll change the roofs. Oh, so we're missing a warp zone here. It should be. Oh god, dude, what happened there? Insert warp zone into 6.2. You know what? I don't know if we've ever had 2 warp zones on one screen before. Because that looks like it just caused an issue. Man, we're gonna have to figure that out. I just commented out 1 warp zone, so if it works again without that other warp zone, then we do have an issue. It does work. So we do have an issue with this more than 1 warp zone on one screen, which I've never done before. But is there an ad coming up? I've got to get a water real quick. I think there's an ad coming up. Okay. We might. I don't know why we can't make. I don't know why. So maybe what we do is we board up this left house here so that you can't walk in it until we can find out why warp zone can only have 1 warp zone. We could take a look through our warp zone logic and see if we could piece together why that isn't allowed. Off the top of my head, I don't know why. If we have more than a warp zone in our place, then we're going to go through, check for colliding. Yeah. Yeah, if we collide, we become warping. Okay. It looks like, I mean, this does handle multiple warp zones. If we have any warp zones, we're going to go in there. So we really just can't add more than one warp zone on a scene. Maybe I did it wrong. Mart, we're going from row 6-1 to the old one, 16, and we're going from... This is the only one I'm not sure about. If 8-5 is the other house, the inn, that means 8 over 5 down, so let's go 5 down, 6 over, so let's go like 6-5 and see. We're looking for that green warp zone and not a crash if we walk into the first house, because last time we did it crashed when we walked into the inn. Let's see. Oh, see, crashes, dude. Scene 495 is crashing here. Weather warp zone. What the heck is a weather warp zone? We cycle through our warp zones. If we're warping, then we reinstantiate a scene with... What the fuck is this, dude? What the fuck is this? Weather warp zone trigger. If we don't... What the fuck is this? What is the P system argument to the scene object or class? What is the P system argument? What the fuck is that? Scene? There's a P system argument? No, not as a parameter. So P system, we have a particle system, not a P system as a string, as a parameter. What the I don't think we're using that anywhere. I do not think we're using that anywhere. I don't know where that came from. The warp zones, we're going to instantiate a scene, overwrite our player P system for a warp call scene instantiation P system. It's a second argument. It's a second argument. No, it's like the fourth. What the? We can't have more than one warp zone. I don't get it. We've never tried to add more than one warp zone, but it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I don't know why. Because if the map... We must be screwing up the dot warp zones insertion or something. Well, insert warp zone. Let's look at that function where we define insert warp zone. Because I think all we're doing is table inserting into our warp zones table. Okay. Yeah, all we're doing is inserting a warp zone object. So calling this twice means that there's two warp zone objects in a given scene. And a warp zone only goes one way, so like the warp zone from one, that's why you have to copy over two warp zones, a warp to and a warp from. Jesus Christ. The parameter names on this just give me a headache. Okay. I don't know why multiple warp zones is breaking a warp. Let's see what triggers when we do a warp zone, right? So like when we do a warp zone trigger, we cycle through our map. If we're colliding with any of the warp zone and we're not already warping, let's go ahead and do all that warp shit. So something's crashing right there where it's either it's cycling through our warp zones of our current map, don't see why it would fail after that, though. Weather warp zone, I don't know what that is, because we cycle through again. We cycle through again, and we reinstantiate a scene if we were warping. This is so weird. Because then we say, okay, well now let's check the weather, set the weather on the system, on the particle system. I don't know what this P system argument does on scene. That's the big thing. Okay. Well, we can't have what? We just can't have... Why is water update inside the weather warp zone? I don't even know what that is. To do, allow specific warp zone to trigger. I don't even know what that means. Allow specific warp zone to trigger. Because right now, like let's say we're cycling through the warp zones and we're warping because we collided with one. Therefore, we reinstantiate the scene. We check the weather. If the other world doesn't have weather, no, that shouldn't matter. Because we're warp zoning from, we're warp zoning to the other world already, and that works. It's just 2 warp zones. So I guess a good test would be like, can we just do the other warp zone instead, and it's only 1 warp zone, or is our other one, is our left one just so fucked up it crashes the other one? So let's swap it. Let's see if the left warp zone works here. On House Pokemart. Huh. What the fuck? Oh, we took it off. Yeah, this one should work because the other one's off and there's only 1 warp zone. I don't know why multiple warp zones crashes. It shouldn't. There's the warp zone. Yeah, it works. It's just 2 warp zones don't work. We can move it left 1, 2, 3 and up 1. Left 1, 2, 3 and up 1. Okay. Okay, this one should be the warp one. Nice. Okay, that one works. Okay, so that one works. It's just that once we have 2 warp zones, it breaks for some reason. And it breaks in the scene, or what did it? Dude, my posture has just been slumping and slumping over more and more time. We turned it. What the Scene 495, yeah. It didn't trigger the collision either. Let's take a look at insert warp zones one more time. All we do is pull some values. It takes in an option. What the fuck is the option? Side warp. Oh, side warp. Yeah, side warp. Blue blast. Yeah, warp zones. So it's just that. See, because what's even... Yeah, I guess, yeah, because this is a different warp zone table we're inserting into. So there's only 1 warp zone object, so why is it when we go through 2 warp zone objects, it crashes? It has to be something when we're cycling through the warp zones, like, that's the only way it can be. So... I don't know if we've ever been able to have 2 warp zones in one scene before. why do we do this? We move. Oh, we dungeon to Ice Mountain exit. This is the side exit. Yeah, this is the side exit. That's why we have to tweak the X positions. So this is not a side exit, and this is a dark forest to Ice Mountain dungeon entrance. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break during ad, and I'll be right back. Got myself some popcorn. Okay, so we're gonna have to take a look at why multiple warp zones doesn't work. So something in the cycling of warp zones is broken. If there's more than one, that means we could be indexing the wrong one. I think we are indexing the wrong one because when we cycled one of them off, actually they're both on, but one of the warp zones will crash and one won't. So that means even though the warp zone was in the right location, since there was two on there, I think we were indexing the wrong one. Yo, have a good night, Cavictus. Peace out, dude. Have a good night. Yo, get some good rest. All right. It has to be checking the warp zones. It has to be. Because if we're not touching the warp zones, it just doesn't make sense. I think it's right here. I mean, I think it's... Can we even render... Hold on. Can we even render two warp zones? For a pair of warp zones, we render each one. Yeah, we are doing that. It's not nil if there's any warp zone. Okay. Warp zone. Okay. We cycle through our warp zones. We cycle through. This, hold on a sec. This current map dot warp zones is on the scene view. It's on the scene view. So that means on a scene transition, we're copying over warp zones. Is that right? On a begin shifting? We copying over warp zones on a begin shifting or a finish shifting? Let's see. No, because, yeah, we're not. So how do we have... How does a scene view have warp zones? That's what I want to know. How and when does the scene view get the warp zones? Because we're in the scene. The warp zones is from the scene. Warp to state change. That's jacked up, dude. I don't think there's anything we can do about that. Okay, so we initialize a warp zones table in our scene. How does it get into the scene view? We don't copy it over, do we? We'd have to. I mean, how are we getting it? Oh, see, look. Oh, this is the difference. This is the difference right here. Scene view, current map. This is the difference. Right here. When we go to... Oh, God. Oh, God, where is it? When we go to warp zone, instead of this current map, no, what is this? Instead of this scene view, current map, warp zones, this is wrong. This should be, we cycle through for key value in pairs of warp zones do. Yeah, it should be this. It should be this. That should allow both warp zones, I think. Okay, if we go to... Yeah, okay, so we have both. So let's test the right house. If the right house teleports, that's the one that was busted before. Either we crash on the... Oh my god, dude. Oh god. We already fucking crashed. Scene 452. What the Dude. We crashed in the play state. Dude, we don't copy over the warp zone, so anything we did in the table like that, I don't think would work. Okay, so if basically we're saying if there are warp zones, we're going to come in here and say, well, let's cycle through in pairs. Okay, for key value in pairs, warp zones. Let's see. If the right warp zone works, I think we're in business. Son of a bitch, dude. It's not the number, it's not the number. Just the table. Okay, here we go. Let's see if the right warp zone gets us there. Fuck, that means this is gonna bust too. I don't know what's happening other than 2 warp zones being in there. But basically in the scene, this is here in the scene. So when the scene's getting updated, we're cycling through the warp zones. Now I don't get why it crashes only if there's more than one warp zone. We say it runs if this is greater than 0. If we table dot insert twice into the warp zones, which we do, this would still be greater than 0. Then we'd cycle through all the warp zones and go one at a time and do this thing where we wouldn't be colliding with whatever. So we would go through the next warp zone. There's only 2 warp zone objects in this scene we're looking at, unless we screwed something up. So we can print up. Let's print up what's in here and just make sure we're not like hallucinating what should be here. So we're gonna say, let's print the warp zones here, and we'll put as a string, right? It can only print a string, so we're gonna put a string here, concatenate, cast it to a string, so that we can just print up that on the screen, and it'll be the warp zones of the current map. So if there's no warp zone, it should be 0, should be, what the fuck, 805. Yeah, we have this unnecessarily. Okay, string. Okay, and then we need a 0.5 for the arguments. To string. We need to put the number operator here. We do need the double. We do need the double, don't we? Yeah. Oh, this needs to close. What the heck, man? To string. And we close that. Yeah, string, warp zones, number, yep. Concatenation, now the 2 arguments, yeah, 0.5. Okay. 805. Doesn't like this. String, concatenate. This is wrong. How is this so wrong? This should be map. Yeah, it should be like that. Why is it taking so long? Okay, so 1 warp zone, yeah, it's right here. And 1 warp zone because it's over here. So it should be 0 over here. Yeah. Okay, so we're looking for 2 over here, up here. We're looking for 2. It does have 2 warp zones. So that's not the part that's flipping it out. It doesn't mind the 2 warp zones existing. It's just that it only checks for collision on like one at a time. I don't get why. Okay, so warp zone. When we go to do a warp zone, we're checking if the current map has more than 1 warp zone, which if it does, we're going to cycle through. We can snag the number it has, and we can do a for loop, not a for in pairs loop. That could change this. I just think something in the pairs here is jacking up. We're cycling through the pairs, and then we're seeing if the value of the warp zone collides. Yeah, I think the V is what messes it up. Well, it's weird because it works with 1 warp zone, which is what I don't get. So I guess what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, let's try this, where we're just gonna count. We're gonna just say local warp zone count is gonna get this number. And then if we have, basically we can say if the warp zone count's greater than 0, then we're going to cycle through our warp zones. Now, we have the count, so we can do for I gets 1 or whatever, right? So for I gets 1, comma, warp zone count, do, yeah, something like this. It's like I'm not even remembering how to do a for loop in Lua right now, really. For I guess 1, do we need a K I++? No. Dude, I don't even know a simple for loop without the pairs. For I get 0, comma. Yeah, so finish is going to be, it's really just this. For I gets 1, for warp zone count, do. It's just that. Step is +1 by default. Let's see if we crash. Let's see if we warp on the second house or not. Global Vietnam value. What the heck, dude? What happened there? Just didn't like this? Scene 455 doesn't like it. Right here. V collides. Okay, I'm going at the index of I here in this loop, checking if either one has collided. It's not the collision here that's working, or the warp zones. Shit. We are checking for collisions here. The map changes. What the heck, dude? The get diff is just map changes? we forget a layer? What the heck, dude? Here. What the heck? We took... Oh my god, dude. If V collides. If V collides. It's nothing. It's just the different tile IDs for drawing. It's not a lot of changes. It's just the get diff is disgusting. Right here we need the collides. So if V collides, so the actual object, the index here, collides with what? Collides with what? It didn't even offer, there's just a collides function that checks with the player. Okay, so we just invoke the function collides, which we do right here. And this has to be true, and we have to not be warping for it to trigger a scene transition or a warp transition. Okay, so let's see if 2... Did we crash? Oh shit, did we crash? No. Did we drop there for a while? It looks frozen on my end. Okay. We're close. No, it's still busted. Fuck. Global V and nil value. Global V. We don't use OV right here. V. The V is too useful. We can't do the for loop here. We literally have to do the freaking I forgot the difference of I pairs, but because if we just give it the table, then the V is the value of the object that we're cycling through, the current one. So this should work. Because we give the warp zones table, we cycle through, do, for key, and then we're going to see, yeah, if V collides, if any of them collides. If V collides. So why would this break with more than one warp zone? I don't know. Still broke. 497 on the scene, right? It didn't like. So this one we're cycling through the current warp zones. See, this current map doesn't have a dot warp zones. This is wrong. Weather warp zone is just wrong. I mean, what does this even do, man? Weather warp zone, what the fuck? What does weather warp zone mean? We're gonna reinstantiate a scene with a P system. What the hell is that in a P system as a string? We don't do that anywhere. I'll tell you what I think that is. I think it's for coming out of the cave. It's so that the weather upon a warp zone can exist in the scene you're coming out into. Here, let's try to get... Here, I'm just going to run through real quick and try to get past the other side so that I can see if the weather is coming through. We need a freaking tunic, man. We need to speedrun this thing. Get the tunic. Okay, let's put the tunic on. This is all I can think of is what Weather Warp Zone does, is this thing right here. Is once we come out of here, the weather actually instantiates. Uh-oh, port. Oh, shit. Shit! Oh no! Import. Dude, run! Okay, it's right here. So we're gonna try to beeline it and run. Okay, it works. So yeah, particle system works on a warp zone out. Is it really just we can't have more than one warp zone? Like, what the fuck? It's just because right here, we crashed here because, what, indexing a new value? Because right here, the scene view current map warp zones, we don't pass this on a scene change. So we don't do this current map.warp zones assignment properly. So it's like, yeah, we don't copy this over. So I think it's just only checking one and then it's fucked up because it's indexing the wrong warp zone. Current map.warp zones. That's the only time we have that, dude. What? This is just not working at all. If the thing we're going into, right, why is this map column? If the map we have is not nil, it's equal to blizzard. Let's insert. Is this? Oh, this is right during a starting scene transition. So this is only when we're doing a scene transition. If we walk into current map warp zones. Dude, I don't know what any of this is actually for. Set emission rate to 0. Because this is only on a triggered starting scene transition. That's when the curtains close. So when the curtains close and we start to warp, then why do we do this? We cycle through all our warp zones apparently, which this is busted, but then we're saying, okay, well, if we are warping, then let's reinstantiate our scene with our player and the new warp. So this is where we actually warp, because we close the curtains and then we reinstantiate the new scene. So this shouldn't be the current map warp. Yeah, this shouldn't be the current map warp zones. I think this... Okay, I think what we need is go to the other warp zone logic and copy the table that we cycle through. So here, when we do the warp zone, yeah, when we do this and we cycle through this junk, this is where I think we need to do this. So we can say, yeah, for KV in pairs of this warp zone, not current map warp zones, because we don't even use that. It's only a scene. We don't copy it over. So for here, we say for that, do, and for that, we're gonna do the warping logic down at the end of this starting scene transition. What the how many line sets is it? What? Okay, if we're warping, else, this. Okay, then we water update. We need the water update too. Okay. So now the warp zone teleport. Is that right? Jacked up is that? If warping, and so this one, dude, that's too many ends. Oh, that's too many ends. Where did those come from? That looked right. Okay, let's see. We want any warp zone to work. Fuck. Still no. Ah, okay, I mean, what else could be happening, man? For this, we're cycling through the current map row column for the warp zones, yes. And this is before. This is when we trigger a starting scene transition, so it's not actually warping us just yet. It would warp us once that gets flipped. Jeez, dude. Okay. Current map column. Yep. That all looks okay. This all looks okay. I mean, clearly it's busted still because if trigger starting scene transition, we should go. Warp zones. Okay, so yeah, that should be right. We don't need to do that. We should just be able to do this without this end. We should be able to just do this. Warp zones. Okay. Why would we crash there though? The only thing I could think of is we're indexing a warp zone index 1 hard coded and it's just wrong. But that wouldn't even crash it. .493 is nil on the scene. Okay, so what's happening is we're cycling through our current map's warp zones, and this thing is nil. This current map warp zones. Give our player a warp row and a warp call on the key of the warp zones. Key. Okay. Starting scene transition. Dude, I don't even get what this is. If starting scene transition. If the left, okay, so like once the thing is closed, yeah, we're gonna do this. So this is like, when do we do the scene? We do the scene overview here. It sets the weather for the next scene, yeah. So this looks right. If there's no warp zone in the table we're currently at, and it's actually cycling through the warp zones for our current map, and if we're warping, which we are, when do we become warping? Right here, we get warping if we collide and we're not already warping here in the scene. So this is kind of what I'm saying. It's right here. We cycle through our warp zones. We become warping. We do this trigger starting scene transition because we collided. So the collision is not, this isn't messing up. This is working fine. The cue to change. But once the cue has changed, once we have triggered the starting scene transition, then when we're cycling through the warp zones at that point in time, it screws up. So either our warp zones at this point in time is wrong, or we're just doing something. I mean, we're just not understanding something. This is line 400, this is line 500. So like when we go to why do we do this? I don't think we need to do this crap. I mean, we have to, right? Why else did we add it in the first place? It's just that if we're crashing here, trigger starting scene transition, trigger starting scene transition, trigger starting scene transition, false, true. What the what are we doing here? What the hell are we doing here? We cycle through our warp zones. If we collide and we're not already warping, then let's go ahead and do that stuff. Then we have this junk, which is like, okay, well, if we're fading, curtains are closing. It's not until, yeah, we flush this false, and then starting scene transition finished. Okay, and then we go to do the warp, and then we say, okay, well, let's go through our warp zones. We have to see which one we're colliding with. Just like this. Just like this. Right here, we have to see which one we're colliding with. So instead of doing this, we need to say, yep, warp zones, yep. If we've collided, yep, right here, if we've collided and we're warping, then we're gonna do it. Okay, this should be it. This should fix it. If this doesn't fix it, we cry. Nope. Nope. Oh, it stopped busting it. It didn't. It stopped it from breaking, which is good. But it didn't warp the other one. It didn't warp the other one. Does it break when it collides? Because the thing is, I think we have both of them in. So look, if we go to warp, I think. Where is it? Shit. It's called the in. Okay. We have both of them on. Okay, so let's try just the in and not the Pokemart, and I think this will work. At least for the in, but then we still need both of them to work. And at least it doesn't break. Just one of them doesn't work. So we've gotten one step up. This one isn't working anymore. The in used to work. Okay, so this is kind of good. Either we insert a warp zone. Dude, I got a bad feeling about this. Why is it gone? We tested both of these and they worked. Only one works half the time. Let's try only the Pokemart and see if it works as expected. Okay. This one works. So it's just not adding the other warp zone. The other warp zone just isn't showing up. Let's take this one off. Let's get our other warp zone back, and I just want to see it. I just want to see it. So when we go to a warp, these two are way off, right? Warp from X, from Y. So the in should be from X. I don't know, it's like 5. Let's just see 5-2. We should see it. There it is. Okay, so we need that warp zone instead of... How is that 5-2? How? Dude, how is that 5-2? Really? How is that 5-2? What the... Oh, you know what? We did it kind of sneaky. We shifted it. So we're supposed to just count 5. If that's 5-2, that's supposed to be 5 over, 2 down. So 5 over, 2 down. Let's run the game again. I forgot I shifted the Y value of that to make for a delivery or a warp zone. Okay, so that's 5-2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over, 2 down, because that means the doorway is right there and we walk in the doorway. Okay, so let's do this again. 5-2, so it needs to be at least 7. It needs to be like at least 4. I don't remember. We just want the in to work, and then we turn on, see if 2 warp zones work at once. It should work. It should do either warp zone. Okay. We didn't get it. Let's count. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. And if this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 5 should be it. Not 7, 4, 8, 5. And we'll put the other one on too, because I'm feeling particularly good that it'll work. Both of them will work. Okay. Oh, yes, that worked. A little bit wrong on the... Shit. That was the wrong warp too, but that's okay, because the Pokemon... What the fuck? That one warped. What the fuck? That one warped us to... That one warped us to the shortcut, the ice shortcut, not the... Must be a 213. What the fuck, man? Okay. I'm losing my mind with all the warp zones. Okay. If 2 warp zones just worked, this would have been done so long ago. Okay, let's try the other one. So this is the... this bed works fine. Doesn't crash. And this one doesn't warp us anymore because we turned it off. So let's turn it back on, and we're going from 6-2 to not 213. That's the 213. Actually, yeah, that is the in, isn't it? Is that not the in? So it's 211. I think that's the old room. We're just, it would be a big success if 2 warp zones on the same scene worked, period. But let's see. Oh, there's the inn. We got it. There's the inn. That's how it should be. It should be a red roof. And then we've got room 1, which is over there somewhere. I want to move that pool over one more. And then we need to add the warp zone here. So let's scoot that pool over and then move the warp zone. So let's scoot the pool over. So room 1, is that really... Oh no, it was like the rightmost room. Okay. So we're going over here. I'm going to move this pool. It's confusing, man. It's confusing, especially looking at all the parameters and stuff. It's just not very straightforward. I mean, it's yeah, custom game. You know, it's weird. There we go. Oh, that looks good. Cool. Okay, so that we got that. Let's put the warp zone on the other thing. Now I want. Let's see. It's weird because the inn is just totally wrong on the layout on the other world, but it looks like this room I want, instead of 13, or what was it, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 is the first one, so 15, 16. So this one, Pokemart, should be the left one. And so it should be this. Yeah, I used to be on Linux. The Stream Deck doesn't work so great on Linux, and I edit a lot of videos on Premiere Pro for work, so I kind of need to be on Windows, unfortunately. I do want to get a Mac Mini and switch off Windows completely, but it's just a lot of work and money. But we're looking for the new updated what was it? A warp zone for the next house. So we've got the inn. We can get a better roof for it too. That's pretty easy. Okay, so here's the inn. It still has the logic and everything for resting and everything, which is good. We do need to figure out the bed collision in here, because this should be, yeah, this is the leftmost room. So the bed's on the left. That should be the leftmost room in here, which it is. Okay, so if that's room 1 or whatever, then we can say the next room is the room. Yeah, I want this to be, this is going to be the room that's above the pool, but nothing's going to be in here, or one, we're going to make one NPC for this room actually, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that'll be this one. It'll be 15, because the other one was 14. Room 1 is 14. Yeah, it should be 115. Okay, so the next one is going to be whatever we call, I'm just going to call it the gym. Because it's unique, and I like it better than house 1, 2, and 3. It doesn't make sense. So the gym is 1 over from, it's actually 6-1, and the gym is actually a 115 over. Now the warp from X is going to be higher. I want to say this is going to be 2, and this is going to be something like 4 or 5. And 6-8 is the same on the warp to, or warp from. Okay, let's try it. Okay, so here we've got the inn, which will give a red roof, like a Poke Center. Blue roof for the Pokemart, which is going to have one guy in there, and he'll give you tooltips for stuff. There's the warp zone, which is in the wrong spot, but it takes you to the right spot, which is the gym insides. So all we have to do is scoot over by 2 on the X, this one, the gym, and then that should be working. And then we can quickly hash out an entity with different directions so that we can put them in, give them a little bit of our square entity logic, walking logic, and then a dialogue box so that we can talk to them and just say anything. Just say anything. Just so that there's an in here. It doesn't waste the player's time. They can walk in or whatever. They can talk. There'll be some tooltips there that we can randomly get. There's a gym up here with a room over there. It's a different room. Bed's on the left still, but it's bed's on the left, but it's lower. So it just proves it's a different room. So we have access to those things. Yeah, so that's the higher bed. Okay, so that's room 1, you know, Poke Center, Pokemart. Okay, cool. So now we need the fisherman's hut. And the fisherman's hut needs to take us to our own fisherman hut, right? So like the right here, we need a warp zone here on 93, and it goes to wherever the fisherman's hut is. So 93 is where we're going. We're going over on the 3 over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, 3, 5, 3, 5 on a 9, 3, 3, 5 on a 9, 3. Okay, so we know we're at 3-5, and then we know we're at, we want to go to 16, 14, 15, 16, the third one, at a 9-3, so that is this one, 9-3. We should have this same 6-8 as a warp 2, so this fisherman hut should be a warp zone there. Let's see. I keep slipping, slouching. My ass is falling from underneath me. Okay, here is the fisherman's hut. Cool beans. It doesn't have a warp zone. We must have fucked that up. Where's the warp zone? It's on a 6-3, on a 9-3, not a 6-3, 9-3. How, dude? 9-3. I put 3-5. How did that happen? 9-3 and a 1-16. That should be it. Oh, we had a 9-3. Oh, we had a 9-3 elsewhere. Let's just see if we can see the warp zone. We got the correct place now. Yep, there's the right warp zone. Wrong spot. So the warp zone spot should be 3 over and 5 down. It's actually swapped. So it should be 3 over, 4 down, 5 down. Or I think it's 5. I keep slipping. Oh my gosh, okay. Better. There it is. It needs to move up 1. But there's the fisherman's hut with it on the right. Okay. So we've got the new warp zones working. Let's scoot it up 1. We'll scoot it up 1. So 3, 5. We want it to go 4. It'll be higher. Yeah. Okay, so we have the new warps. We've got all the warp zones configured now, I think. We'll add geckos there soon. Okay, so this is a fisherman's hut. Okay, we need the bed. We need to add the bed still. But we also need to... Yeah, I mean, we just got more shit to do. I'm liking it a lot. It's feeling really good. I kind of want like a little beach here. I want to do like a little beach here where you could walk to the right a bit. Just to explore like a bit more that doesn't get you much, but maybe it can show you a sneak peek of what's past the water somewhere. So let's do, this should be simple to do. Going right here. Yeah, we're gonna go right here. I want to scoot this up. I want to actually be that this is like something you can walk up into, and there's not trees here, but more ocean. So on the ground level, gonna get more ocean over here. And I want trees, but I want them to be shifted down. I want one gap that you can walk at with trees. So if we take trees, we can put them right here. Okay. And this will be live on the website later tonight once I do it, because I've got that whole workflow figured out, so it should be easy. We could put another layer of tree here. Let's just that, the tree. This is the bottom, right? Or is this the bottom? I think that's the bottom. That one's here. You know what? Maybe we could put like a boulder. No, I don't know. I don't like the gap here. But I like the idea of being able to walk alongside the beach here. Like this is going to be a wall, you know, down into the beach. So like if we just look at that part of it and say like, okay, well, if this is just like a little beach, not even a beach, just like a ledge that you could walk down, that we could do a export as a global map, and we can just see what it looks like when we play and see how that little ledge looks. See, I don't like that this is just like an L of trees over there. I don't like that. I don't like the dude, it feels so weird. It feels so weird. Wow. Yeah, you can work your way all the way out here. Okay. I don't like the L of trees. It looks really bad. So let's do something about that. Let's go into our tiled. Let's try to do, yeah, this L is just bad. Dude, I hate all of this corner. This corner is just really bad. We just need like a different type of brick or something. I don't like this part at all. Just right here. Yeah, and then this should kind of stop. This should stop like right here. Just as a ledge, like I kind of want something to be down here. If this is the end, I kind of want like a sneak peek of another thing you can't reach just yet, and it's gonna be like down here, you know, like kind of like a, it won't show anything, but it'll just look like there's more game down there. You know, just make it look like there's more game. Okay, export as a global map, and let's test it. Let's see if that looks okay. I still don't like the ledges corner there. We'll see. Don't like the L. Really don't like the L. Don't like this junk. I just want to open up that left corner. See, look, yes. If we put like a land gap there, it'll just look like something's over there, and we can do, I like that. It looks like just like a little sneaky part, you know, just to see what's over there. I like that. Okay. We will put, okay, I want to open up this. This just shouldn't have junk. We can open up this whole thing. We do need to, actually, yeah, we could just open this up. Let's do that. Not above ground, we want ground tiles. And ground tiles, all of these through. Yep. All of these, yep. Okay. Yeah, okay. I like this idea. Yeah, just opening this up a bit. This would be a stuck. This would be a stuck because there's no gap here. So this would have to come out and kind of block a little bit. We have to get one of these trees to block this method here, and this place right here. Let's just see what this looks like, just see if it feels like anything. Not master tiled, but global map. Okay. Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm liking that. It feels a lot more open. Okay. Yeah, we can. Okay. It doesn't prevent us from walking. See this one? This should be a tree too, I think. Should have 2 trees down here. Then we get to the L. We get to the L. Let's just block this method off. Shit. If we block all this off, we have to block this corner, which I hate doing. So we can scoot up. Let's scoot up our whole cheater port by 1. Yeah, we'll scoot up our cheater port 1 by 1. I say cheater, it's not really. And then we'll open up that to be empty so that this is a gap. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, we're gonna scoot up our port here. Okay, and then I think maybe more bridge. Yeah, I just want the bridge, the dock to go further. Okay. Because yeah, if you walk this way, this should be mainly a secret. Okay. Let's do another kind of hill here. Yeah, I don't like the second tree there, so let's get rid of that. And just scoot these guys over. Okay, so there's a little cheat port, so if you come down here, there's like a little thing here. That'll kill you, so we can't have that. We have to have something block that way, but then when you come through the cheater port, it would look and show you like, hey, there's stuff over here. This is like some land over here, not on the above ground, but on the ground level we have some land over here. that you can't quite get to just yet. Let's see. Okay, so look down here. Yeah, so the trees, it isn't just an L. There is a stump and other stuff here. And that L kind of, it does leave a square here, which I don't quite like, but also it doesn't bug me that much. I kind of like this peaky hole. I don't know what you want to call it. But yeah, I like this. It kind of just taunts that there's more stuff over there. And if you look at what might be over there, once you do the map, you can maybe see some kind of something. But yeah, nothing over here. Lots of water, lots of corrupted water. Okay, there is a one corner tree, which I don't like. But if we get rid of it, if we get rid of that tree, then there's nothing there. We can get rid of that tree. We should be able to get rid of that tree. Yeah. Okay, let's touch up the pathway here like this, you know? Painting some of the white pathways on the corners here, stuff like that. Just fills in the art a bit more. It was all on the above ground shit. It's okay. Render's over. This looks good. Maybe now we scoot this over by one. Yeah, let's scoot this over by one. This stuff. We'll scoot this stuff. Actually, yeah, this stuff over by one, and then we can get rid of that stump. Okay, and then we'll go to the ground and we'll keep doing some blending on the pathway here. Yes. See all these secret above ground level layers. It's all jacked up. Okay. Nice. That looks cute. Yeah, I like all that. Okay. And then if we add another tree here, it's jacked up, right? Let's see. I like it. I like it. It does force you kind of this way. And it does have a little peeker thing. I kind of liked when it was a sneaky thing. We can have a signpost or a fence. Fence on this one. See, I don't want the fence in the corner there, so we kind of are avoiding that. Okay. There could be stumps here to force you to just walk. I just like when this feels like a secret instead of like a big gap here. I like when it feels more like a tight little secret. Not secret, but you know, just something people might not explore, but let's do this. We've dropped 88 frames in 2 hours, so that's awesome. And we're stuck. We need to double up on there if we're gonna do that. But then that's the freaking problem, man. If we double up, then we're here. We walk off screen right here, and then we gotta double up, and then there's one in the corner. So we'll do this. We'll double up right here. Just do that. So we have to go all the way. And then look, how can we've got flowers, we got some brighter parts, we've got some stuff like this that can be on the ground and shaped a little bit as like a pathway. Yeah, I like something a little bit like this where it's just kind of different. There's no secret over here, but it's just like just a little bit different, just to make it look a little bit different. Dude, this is starting to look awesome. Yeah, look at the dark forest. I don't like all these fence posts, but if there's any place to have a fence post, the main street makes sense to have the fence post like that. And it's got a wall of trees, and it's also protected by this thing. So let's see. Wow, yeah, dark forest is definitely better being bigger like that. Nice. Okay, it's looking good. It's looking good. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this is out of the whole game, right? 100 screens. About, most of this bottom left quadrant is playable in the demo. So that's like about 25% of the map. But then also, if you go into a dungeon, you go into the underworld and explore some of it over here. So out of 100 screens, we're exploring maybe 15 of them over here, 16 of them or something. There's not a lot to do over here. We'll put geckos here. We'll put geckos here in the sand, in the desert. And then we have the shortcut for the ice mountain, and then forest biome up above. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Or, yeah. Forest, yeah. I feel like forest biome is probably going to be, yeah, over here on the top left. The boss. Okay, so I guess what's next is we can put geckos back in the game. We can go ahead and do that real quick, and then maybe call it a night, because I've been just looking at code for a long time today. So let's go. We have geckos. We have gecko. Declarations, geckos. Yes. Okay. So right here, we have our geckos. We're saying 4 entities. For each entity, give them a random variable. Go into 112 entities. Entity go. Okay. So this is where we're saying table.insert an entity, and it's a gecko. We're putting it in 112. Let's pull up where the gecko road is. Gecko road is where? Because we need to add it. We need to add 4 geckos to gecko road, and then 4 geckos over in the dark forest. We're going to add geckos a couple spots. So here, this was a very open spot for a bunch of geckos to be at, and then this is feeling awesome. Yeah, I like it. Feels much more open over here. Okay, let's do... I still don't like this tree stump. I don't like that stump in the corner. The corners are hard to design for. Maybe we could do... Maybe we can just do some pits here. Yeah, pits up. So that you have to walk kind of give you a reason to follow the pit here. Okay, I'm just going to draw the pits there. I just don't want to walk over there. It just feels weird. So we can put 4 pits over here. Okay, we need geckos. I didn't check which scene was the gecko road. We can count right now. Let's see. 74848 is gecko road. 83 is gecko road. 83. So let's do 83 entities. So we say 83 entities. We're giving ourselves 4 geckos on 83, and we're putting them in there. Let's just see if that shows up in there. They should just get updated it already, because that's just how we do it. They should be there. Come on, geckos. Shit. Oh no. We crash, man. We crash. Gecko. Oh, we need to give him the state machine. Okay. So in our declarations, we say give us gecko. We say for 1 entities, yeah, right here. Crap, what was it? Gecko right here, 4-3 entities. 4-3 entities. So let's say 4-3 entities. Oh crap, look at all this crap. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Why all 112? It's all 112. What's in 112? That's a bat. That's a gecko. This is not right. This is not right. We need a spot to activate our entities methods right here, just like we've got with all this gecko. Wait, where is it, man? Gecko entities. See this 112. Give the animations. It's not quite here. We only have bats here. Well, we do have a gecko somewhere, right? We have a gecko at least in the normal room right there. So we basically, this is map declarations, we need to give the animation, we need to create the animations for the gecko after we cycle through and create. Then we need to instantiate. Yeah, this is all what we need to do here. So instead of... Dude, this is so weird. Okay, so we're at 4-3. We're at 4-3. So let's do the 4-3 entities. 4-3. So we're going to say basically this. 4-3. We're going to say instead of 112, we're going to 4-3. And we're cycling through all the geckos. All of our 4 geckos we just put in there. 4-3. Was it 4-3? It wasn't 4-3. What the... 4-13. 4-13. So we cycle through all of our 4 geckos. And we go through, and if it's a type gecko, which they are, we're going to say, let's go store in that entities animations table, create animations from our gecko defined animations table. And then what we need to do is then say, okay, well, we also need to idle down our geckos so that they start facing downwards out of the initialized direction. And then they need to do a whole thing where we also instantiate 2 states into the entity, and we do that here with, we need to change this to 413, not 112, and then so we say, okay, every gecko that's in this gecko road, if it is a gecko in this entity, then we're going to give it its animations. We're going to change its animation. We're also going to then assign this stuff. We assign a state machine into the entity. and then change to an idle, and then we need to there is like a random spawn time for the gecko. I'm not seeing where it is. Let's see if we can do this for 413. So 413, every 112 here needs to be 413. Man, how do I do it? In BIM substitution, how do you do it? Shit. Oh. What the? Shit. Oh. 413? Okay, we forgot to do the global on the first one, but it's okay. Okay, 412. 412. It's 413, god damn it. What? We did 412. Should be 413. Okay, let's see if our geckos are there. So we just give them... Fuck, dude. 413 entities. $413 is a bat. What the fuck am I talking about? Dude, this is all fucked up. 413, that's all we gotta do is 413. These are all 112s. Okay, so 412s. Right? No, 413. God, dude, how did I mess this up so bad? It is 413 on both of these. Right? Dude, I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. It is 413. It should be 413. How is it 13 though? Because the this is wrong. It can't be 13. It's only a map of 10. It can't be 13. So what the how did we get this? Entities. This is just the bat. Where the fuck did our gecko stuff go? 413 is our old one. We have a gecko somewhere. Not 413, dude. Gecko Road is where? It's 8-3. It's 8-3. Where the fuck do we get? It's 8-3. Dude, we changed. Oh my god, dude. We changed all this shit. Okay, so 413. All this stuff. All this stuff right here needs to be 8-3. Right? Gecko at 8.3, yeah. Okay, Gecko at 8.3. Okay, so right here, Gecko 8.3. All this needs to be 8.3. Okay, 8.3 geckos, yes. Okay, 8.3 geckos. Okay, so we just give them... Basically, all we do is give them their animations, give them their state machine, initialize their state. Then the state in the update and the process AI 864. 8.3. Did we screw up our 112 entities? Fuck. Dude. What did we screw up in here? Dude, we screwed up our freaking entities in here. Dude. Oh, this is obnoxious. Okay. See, look at all this. We changed this shit. All this 112 shit, this should all be untouched. Okay, we might get away. See, here's the first one of our declarations. So all we're doing is saying 8.3 entities. Yeah, see, we fucked up there. We weren't supposed to delete that. And then we screwed up all of our bats. See, these are all bat animations, and we did it 413 instead of 112. So I think what we can do, it's only those two things on our map declarations. So let's do a get revert. Is that how you do it? Get revert, get restore, dot. What, map declarations? Get restore map declarations. How do you do that? How do you switch here? Get discard. Get restore file name. Get restore to discard changes. Yeah, get restore. I had it. But then the file is what? Get restore is what in our source? Fuck, dude. It's this graphics. Okay, it's that. So we want get restore our source map declarations. And then now we can go in there and make it right. So map declarations here, we want to go to where we're doing gecko. And see how this is all the 112 shit? That's the shortcut, the demo shortcut. We want to put this stuff on a different level. So let's just start here. It's 4.8. No, it's... God, dude, what the fuck is it? Gecko Road is what? We didn't even fucking do it. God damn it. Okay. We gotta find Gecko Road's address here. 8.3. Okay. 8.3 is where it's at. So we're gonna say 8-3. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is just give our geckos that are already in there, or actually that we got to instantiate them, which we have to do here. Gecko, where's Gecko? Right here. Okay. Okay. So this is Gecko Road. Let's leave Gecko Road here. Okay. We have 4. We're putting them into the 4. Dude, I forget it every fucking time. What is it? 8-3. 8-3. Okay, 8-3. Oh. So the idea is we give ourselves the entities here. We say, give us 4 entities, put them all in Gecko Road. We're going to give them all the animations table so that we can run our create animations on the entity. We give them a random X and Y position, somewhat, you know. AI path, okay. And then we say, okay, well now cycle through all those 4 geckos we just gave ourselves and loop through them and give them all the gecko animations. So this should not crash the game, at least. It should just let us play. We shouldn't crash. We should just be able to come here and not die. Okay, cool. So they're there. They're just not getting updated or rendered, I think. But if this is Gecko Road, 8-3, yeah, what we need to do is say, okay, now that we have the geckos, we need to say, well, if they're a gecko, we're going to go on this 4 or 8-3 and say, gecko, if it's type gecko. Yep, we're going to say, okay, the 8-3 also going to swap over. Give us the state machine for those 8-3 geckos. And then, yeah. Okay, 8-3, give us all those geckos, change them to idle. I don't know if that'll render them or what, but let's see. They're not there. They're not there in 8-3. Okay, so 8-3 geckos. Okay, so this is all our 8-3 gecko. We didn't do it 8-3 here. 8-3. Okay, let's see. Come on, geckos, let's go. Fuck. It didn't like the anim. This is where we have to create the anim for them. I thought we'd do it right here. Create animations. Yeah, I didn't like the anim. I've got them right here, though. Let's see. We create the animations. 8-3, that's what we're doing. Yep. Yep. Okay. And the next time we do a gecko, we give them the state machine. We change the state. Then hit false. What else are we doing? Just a bat. That should be it. That should be it. I mean, we do change this to entities not hit, entities with an S, dot type, entities with an S, entities corrupted. They start off as corrupted. You have the corrupted and a gecko, type gecko, yep. Then give them there. We don't table insert, do we? Table insert, oh we do, to the A3. Table insert. Okay. They're not here. They're not here. There's a bat test. Dude, we had another gecko test in here somewhere. Not seeing where it's failing though. Okay, there's Gecko Road, that's failing. Then here, okay, so we have, yeah man, if it's a type gecko, go ahead, create animations. Yep, change to idle down, yep. Then give the walk state, yeah. Then change state to idle. Entity idle, huh? Entity idle, what's that? Entity idle instead of idle down? Oh, the state, oh, we have to initialize the state. Okay, we have to do this. We have to do this. And we do it. Fuck. Yeah, we do it right here. Entities, yeah. Change to entity idle. Yep. Okay, well, I don't see why it fails. I mean, A3, A3, A3. A3 entities. Yep, yep, yep. Yep. Only thing I could think of? No, I can't think of anything else. Can't think of anything else. Three things we do. Create animations, initialize states, change the state. Same thing over here. Create animations for the gecko. Then we're going to say change animation to idle down, which we do. No, we don't. No, we don't. We didn't change the... We need to change the animation to idle down. If it's a gecko, so if it's a type gecko, give us the animation, change to that animation. Then give the states, initialize the state. Let's see. Let's see. Come on, geckos, man. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's show up, geckos. Let's go. Yes, yes. Look at them. Look at them. Go. Yes, yes. Yes. Oh, shit, man. Dude, these guys aren't fucking around. Oh my god. Geckos worked and they don't get cleansed. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Oh, dude. Dude, they're gonna fuck me up. They're gonna fuck me up. They're a gang. Okay. They don't reset, which is wrong. Some of them do. Some of them don't. They go crazy. They go crazy. Look at them. Okay. Let's see again. This is, I mean, we got geckos, right? We need to put maybe one up above. Shit. The states aren't loading right, man. Oh my god. Oh my god. They're all fucking wonky, dude. Oh shit. They're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me. Okay. The knockback isn't doing shit. The knockback, oh my god, dude. Yeah, surely the knockback ain't doing shit. Dude, the gecko is just kind of gang up on you at the end there. Okay. Okay, the geckos are so jacked up, dude. They need to be idle. They need to be idle. They need to be entity idle, which they should be here. Entity idle here. And then they should be, we have a thing there's some logic. Oh god, there's some logic that goes what? There's some logic with our gecko reset that we're it's probably in the state machine for the gecko, so we'll worry about that. I think I'm gonna call it. I've been programming this game maybe like 10 hours today, or feels like it. So we'll be back tomorrow. We're gonna continue working. I'll deploy this new set probably to the website maybe tonight, but we're gonna continue making the changes. All we need is we need 2 NPCs for the insides of the gym and the Pokemart. We need the new colors for those roofs. Then we need the geckos on Gecko Road, geckos in the Dark Forest. We need to fix the state machine when they flee for them to fade away and get removed and get reset properly upon a scene transition. And then, the NPC for the tooltips. In the fisherman hut or in the wherever he is. But yeah, anyways, let's get rolling credits and then we'll find someone to rate here. It's been almost a 3-hour stream. That's been really good. Okay, yeah, let's roll credits. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for hanging. Duke of God, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate that. We'll find someone to raid out to. You know what? Yeah, Hypnotic is going. As long as he isn't. Okay, yeah, he looks like he's programmed. Always like rating fellow programmers who are actually programming. So we'll raid out to Hypnotic, say what's up. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll get more work done on the game. Demo almost done. Demo's going to be done soon, so it's going to be great. Thanks for watching.